The next question is, hey guys, I want to set up a niche blog, but I don't like writing. How can I generate the quality content myself for my niche blog? Will the generated content be good enough for niche blogging? Thanks. Content Kingpin. That's how we, I've been, when I first started in SEO and local lead gen way back in, 2010 timeframe, I was actually doing blog posts right after I'd kind of developed the Syndication Academy method, and because it was just working like crazy good. I knew that blogging was going to be the way to populate the networks and get results. And so I was actually blogging for industries that I knew nothing about. I was actually writing the posts myself, and it was incredibly time consuming and it was frustrating because I had to learn a lot about the businesses and the topics and such. And fortunately, I got introduced to content curating. And I don't remember who introduced me to it or whatever, but I kind of started reading about it. And then I bought a couple of courses about content curating and some plugins and all kinds of stuff, and started curating content. And I got much more efficient at generating content. And I didn't have to know as much about a topic because you can just find subject matter, find articles on the web or content. It doesn't have to be articles. It can be podcasts, videos, infographics, slide presentations. It could be a number of things that are based around the topic that you are writing about, that are written by or produced, the content's produced by subject matter experts or SMEs. And you can get really good and really efficient at producing content by just being able to find and locate content developed or produced by subject matter experts, and then curating it and creating a unique post based upon using snippets of content from the subject matter experts. It's already been published. So that's, been my preferred method. And I was actually doing that on my own. I used some tools and some plugins at the time, but once my business got to a certain level, it was just way too time consuming. Even with using curated content, it was too time consuming for me to produce it myself. So I developed training and hired a virtual assistant and handed it over to them. And she's still with me today, by the way. Her name is Esther. She's still my primary number one blogger that works for me right now. But anyway, long story short, that training, I ended up training multiple virtual assistants or bloggers or curators, as what they are really, with that training. So I kind of polished it up a bit, and that's what Content Kingpin is, which is one of our training courses. And it's the same process that my bloggers all use today. I talk about a couple of tools, but we still primarily do everything manually, just using like Feedly, for example, to group and categorize content feeds that we know, like, and trust, that then we can use so at a quick glimpse, my bloggers go in for whenever they've got to produce or publish a post, they'll go in and just look at Feedly, select the particular category or folder for the project that they're working on, and it'll show all the content that's available, the recent content that's available around that particular topic. And then they can choose a topic to blog about, to curate a post about, and then pick and choose a few articles that will either reinforce the idea that they're trying to convey with their post, or sometimes they'll do like argumentative posts where they'll try to show a different opinion from what perhaps others are saying. So they'll show two sides of the coin, if that makes sense, like two different competing opinions about the same topic. Anyways, it's great. It works incredibly well. It also creates co-citation. And so we highly recommend you check out Content Kingpin. It's one of the best ways to do it. Not only that, but if you were to use that site type of a system, the Content Kingpin method, then you can get away from doing it yourself. So you don't have to publish. I mean, I would learn it first, learn it and understand how to do it first, but then you can actually put a virtual assistant that you hire through the course and have them do it for you. And you can kind of just manage and guide them until they get up to your standards. But that's the best way to do it, guys. I call it hands-free content marketing, and it's a great revenue source too, because it really is simple. Once you understand the concepts, it's really, really good too. Anybody want to comment on that?
Content Kingpin doesn't get enough credit for what it does. People don't understand it, I think, because they get all this different information about unique content and duplicate content and all this bullshit that's out there that's a nothing, really. If it were so, places like Huffington Post would not exist. Google News would not exist unless curated content was okay. Well, not only okay, whether it was good. I mean, how much traffic does it get? Bing, Yahoo, all they do all day long is republish stories. Huffington Post is a collection of republished stories. That's all it is. And all you're doing with Content Kingpin is republishing the stories. You're summarizing them, right? Taking paragraph, however it is that you do it. And then you're adding your own commentary and proper attribution, and it's a done deal. I mean, it's so simple. And yet people try to make it so much more difficult than it really should be. But yeah, totally. Content Kingpin for the win.
You know, and it's interesting. I just pulled this up because I did this, and if you guys remember Masterclass, we had a kind of a middle tier, webinar coaching program that we had called Masterclass for a number of years. And I did this as a local case study, Gainesville Home Pros, and I've never done anything with it since. And I think that was back in 2015. Oh, look at that. It says account suspended. That's interesting. That's one of my, okay. Well, anyways, I would like to show you that blog because that was curated content, the same method. My blogger, Esther, who was the first one I trained using that method, produced all the content on that site using curated content. And they were beautiful posts. And unfortunately, it looks like that account has been, that hosting account perhaps has been suspended. I haven't done anything with it in years, but I would like to show you guys some examples of that, but I don't have anything that I can show you right now off the top of my head. But anyways, it works really, really well. The posts come out beautiful if you do it right. I would highly recommend going through Content Kingpin though, because there's a few things that you have to do in order to not infringe on copyright. So for example, you don't want to curate images. That can get you into trouble. Ask me how I know, because you'll get extortion letters from like Getty Images and other, asshole law firms out there that are just looking for people that have republished images without copyright, without rights to it. So there's like a lot of things, there's not a lot of things, but there's a few things that you really should do to make sure that you're covering your ass when you're curating content. And so again, I highly recommend you go through the product. It's through that program. It's a really, really good program. And it's the same that we use today. There are a lot of tools out there that can help you to manage content curating, but we've always found that it really just is just as quick and easy, because what happens with a lot of these tools is they stop being supported over time. We know one of them was Curation Suite that we actually promoted. And fortunately, after promoting it and after a year or so, like the support just stopped and it kind of fell off the face of the earth. Same thing with a bunch of curating plugins that I've used over the years. They just eventually fall off the market and they just don't get supported. So we've learned to just stick with the manual process. And it's, once somebody becomes efficient with that process, it really is a very efficient way to produce content. So you don't need all the additional tools and plugins and things like that. So that's why I recommend that product, because Content Kingpin, because it'll teach you how to do it manually. And then you can teach a VA how to do it by just putting them right through the same training. It's a great question though.